Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Lupita Prada, and today I will be the moderator of the big debate. Welcome to both of the teams. Thank you for being here. So now we will introduce you to our audience. On behalf of Team 1, we have Teresa Artaza, Dorian Ranger, and their president, Julia Camargo. Welcome. Thank you for coming. And we would also like to welcome Isabela, Jonah, and Nicholas that are in the audience supporting their team. And now, on behalf of Team 2, welcome, guys. This is Nicolas. This is Mehak, and this is Avalon, and we will also like to welcome their team members, Caio, Hannah, and Lisa, that are in the audience. Now, we are going to recap briefly for our audience the structure of the debate. We will have 5 sections, each comprising of 2 questions. We will be explaining to the audience the content of each section as we go through. For the first 3 sections, we have disclosed the question to the members, as they already know, but for the last 2 sections, we kept the question secret, and they will be revealed today in the debate. Remember, you all have 2 minutes to answer the questions, and then you will be cut off if you go over time. Okay, now, without further ado, we will begin with the first section. This first part of the debate concerns the campaign. I am going to read the question, and then we will flip a coin to decide which team will start. Then, according to the results of the coin, I will choose the member of the team that will answer such question. So the first question is, explain and justify your choice of campaign slogan and the main message of your team to the IE community. Describe in a few words how you picture the university under your administration. So now, please, Julia and Nicolas, choose either heads or tails so that we can flip the coin.
Please choose first.
Tails. Okay, tails for team 1 and heads for team 2. Okay, so since it's tails, the team 1 will begin, and Teresa, please answer the first question.
Okay, thank you. We choose our slogan, fostering community, empowering change, because our main goal is to integrate the IU community through its shared entrepreneurial and social spirit in order to achieve cross-campus success. All of our points share a common framework of improving the way the university communicates and also building a bigger sense of community and teamwork between both campuses. We ultimately believe that IE is a great place to be, one of the greatest places to be. However, there's a clear need for change in certain areas, such as, for example, IE modules, scheduling rules, participation rules, or our community spirit. We therefore want to improve and foster the way the university communicates and also build a stronger sense of community and teamwork between both campuses. We also recognize that as the university grows, we need to combine the strengths of both campuses in order to continue to put IE on the educational map, and we consider this a key goal of our campaign and also of our potential term in student government.
Okay, thank you very much, Teresa. Now we will proceed with the answer of Team 2. Avalon, could you please answer the first question?
Yes, I would love to. Well, first of all, I would like to start with that we recognize all of the points that Team 1 has made. But furthermore, our campaign was mainly focused on showing you what makes us different from the other team. The ideas might not be so per se, but our university slogan is vote for unity, vote for diversity. There's 2 important aspects in that. First of all, the unity is one thing that can be mentioned in combining the unity of campuses, and diversity is something that goes further than just racial diversity. Also, cultural diversity, artistic diversity, which is something we want to promote in both universities to make sure that everyone feels at home.
Okay, thank you very much. Now we will proceed to question number 2. And again, Team 1 will answer first, and then Team 2. The question says, mention 2 most important campaign proposals and detailedly explain how you plan to achieve them. Additionally, provide a realistic percentage of proposals you expect to accomplish during your mandate. So for Team 1, please, Dorian, could you answer this question?
Thank you, Lupita. Very important question. As many of you guys know, we have 5 points that we'll be focusing on during our term, but the 2 we deem most important are first to reassess IE modules in which we aim to personalize, make more practical, and increase the relevance of academic modules at this university. We recognize that for many people, sometimes there can seem to be a misallocation of credits or courses that seem to have a reduced relevance in terms of their own viewpoints. Like yesterday, I had a brief discussion with a friend of mine, Mark, who is starting his own startup. and he's a communication student, and deems that he could learn far more in terms of promotional videos. And so I've recognized that, and it really fits well into our points here. But how are we going to solve this? We aim to, as part of a student government, increase the student participation in each of our modules, increasing opinions and viewpoints on specific elements that they want to change through Facebook polls, shared Excel worksheets, and meeting with class reps. Thereafter, we're going to meet with departments and direction heads to bring forward this information. As Julia and I will be staying over the summer break in Madrid, we aim to really implement these points to a higher degree. And of course, we'll be transparent in the way we make this happen. Further, our second proposal is to increase cross-cultural integration, cross-community integration through campuses, excuse me. We've recognized that there is an amazing potential for IE to flourish as one university, but there sometimes are gaps between campuses. So we will focus on unifying these two campuses especially through our clubs. We aim to make our clubs more inclusive in terms of being applied to both campuses, and increasing this through subsidization of transport.
Okay, thank you very much. Now, Mehak, could you please answer the question?
Yep. Firstly, we would aim to boost training programs for intra and extracurricular activities. This would include student-led seminars, student-led lectures, because we believe that the fourth-year students here have so much of knowledge, experience, and skills that if they share this experience and skills with the juniors, it would educate them further also. This would also include moot court activities, which are not active right now in our university, which would mean that having moot courts for students LLB and BIR students to be specific, give them a practice of the field, which they're going to be practicing in the future. And we have two proposals specific for the academic officer, which is myself. So those would be related to the exception policy and the personal cost that they have to bear. The exception policy, if you pass the 70% class limit, you fail a course. It's an IE rule. It's a policy that cannot be changed because of the Spanish law, which states that 70% has to be attended of the courses in a year. However, we want to tackle this issue by having a change in the exception policy. Exception policy only allows you to apply for an exception when you have surpassed the 70% criteria, when you have gone under the 70%, which puts a student in a real risky situation because if the directors do not approve their request, they end up failing and the consequence of repeating the whole course again. So that's a really risky situation. The second proposal related to the academics side is to reduction of personal costs borne by students. This is specific to architecture and design students, as they have to bear additional costs for printing, materials, and applications that they have to pay for, which is additional to their fees, even though their fees is much higher than every other student here. We want to have a subsidization or a credit system for them, which allows them to reduce their personal costs and reduces the stress on them personally because of these additional costs. And given our team, we do want to put our 100% in and achieve all goals and promises that we do want to plan for you guys. But given realistically speaking, we'll only accomplish 80%.
Okay, thank you very much. So now we will move to the second part of the debate, which regards questions concerning the team, the formation of the team. So now we will change the order, and Team 2 will start answering the question. The first question is, in 1 or 2 sentences, sustain why each of your candidates is fit for the role. So Avalon, could you please answer this question?
Yes, of course. Our team came together quite at a rough start. We only started making our team right before the actual campaigning started. So here's how our roles are divided. I will start with the people who you can see next to me. Nicholas is, if you want to introduce yourself.
Well, I'm running for public relations because I've always been interested in trying to help and have a voice in order to help students in university. That's why last year I represented my class as delegate, and this year I'm doing the same. And I think that this opportunity will allow for increasing the touch of students in a very new university that is yet to change a lot of things.
And you?
I'm the academics officer. I feel that I have first-hand experience dealing with issues with the degree offices or the administration, and I have gotten results because of persistence. And also I come off as a very approachable person, which is essential for an academics officer because we're here to serve your main academic issues.
Furthermore, me and Kayo will be looking at extracurricular activities. We both have had various different experiences with extracurricular, but additionally with student government, me, myself, 4 years of being in student government in high school. And Kayo has had a similar experience. Furthermore, Liza says she has the most strong desire to be a part of the IAE community, and she is willing to always participate in events, groups, activities, conferences, performances. Furthermore, Ari is the last member of our group that I will introduce to you, aside from Samia and Hannah. Ari is a first-year BIR student, has many great ideas to work on academics with Mahak. Furthermore, Hannah grew up in Silicon Valley, fun fact.
And sorry, your time is up.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, now Julia, could you please answer this first question?
Dorian and I have been planning for this team for quite a while. Since before the semester began, we have been investigating who we thought would be best fit to run the student government and to keep evolving what you guys know. And I don't know if you know, this is only the 4th time there's been a student government in our university. So it's new, it's fresh, and it's starting. We believe Niklas is perfect for academics officer based in Segovia because he's extremely passionate about academics. He founded his own Segovia tutoring page because he really, really wants to help students, and he has maintained an incredible GPA in his degree of 9.4. We also think Teresa is perfect for her extracurricular role because she's involved in so many different activities. She co-founded the ski and snowboard club. She's co-leader of the Law Society, and she's always liaising with both campuses, and she'll be working with Jonah Perry, which is our first-year social butterfly, always looking to get involved in all the ways he can. He is an active participant of the football club, and he's been going to many activities. Also, we have Isabella with Ines as our community development officers, and Isa has a lot of experience organizing activities in IE, such as helping with this year's edition of the Spring Ball, organizing the LEAP conferences, and she has prior SG experience in her university in Venezuela. Also Ines, also another extremely active member of our society, part of Philanthropic Club, the Rotaract Club, and she will fulfill her duties as community development officer very, very well. We have Sam, our communication and innovation officer. He's had over 5 years of experience in communications, working for companies such as Disney and Movistar. He is founded the IE HST, the Computer Society, and works in the task force for IE. We have Dorian, our VP and academics officer, also has prior SG experience and extremely passionate about academic issues. And he started his own orderly company to help IE students with cleaning services. And me, as hopefully your president, and I've been involved in many areas of IE and been defined as the most active student in this community.
Thank you very much, Julia, for your very detailed answer. Now we will move on to the second question of part 2, which says, list and elaborate on the group traits and qualities that render the team efficient, trustworthy, and dynamic. So please, on behalf of Team 2, Nicolas, could you please answer?
Well, I think that the biggest advantage of our team is that we all come from very different backgrounds, and most of us come from one country but have lived in other different countries. This works together because we are all driven by very similar interests to have a stronger international community and have a stronger degree of integration. And this is a good way to accomplish this is, well, by having different backgrounds. We have touch with different types of communities. Most of the people in our team come from the first year, which means that they're freshly and very motivated people who have just arrived with new ideas and wanting to do a lot of things. And well, basically because I think that one of our advantages is that we've tried always to be really accessible. And the most important thing for the student government, and one of the things that students know or ask, is what does the student government do and how can they be in contact with them? Because many times it's not very clear what is going on with the student government or how they can raise their voice or increase their participation. So we tried to focus our campaign a lot around how can we make, via the web, via any type of technology or personally, students more engaged with us. And I think that's what makes us really strong.
Okay, thank you for your very illuminating answer. Now we will move on to the third part of the debate, which is the last part that the teams know the questions of. And this part concerns the roles and duties of each member of the team. So the first question is, describe in your own words, what are the duties of the student government? So please, Teresa, could you proceed?
Well, we think that the main...
Yeah, before she answers, we didn't get
to answer
the...
their question. The question
Oh,
was asked.
sorry, I'm very sorry, yeah.
No
Okay,
worries.
so Dorian, it's your turn, yeah.
Sure, thank you, thank you. So, another great question. In terms of our team, I truly think that our group traits will allow us to solve a number of issues and bring the IE community further. How we will do this? First of all, some fun facts, some stats, if you will, about our group. We are 8 nationalities. We study an array of different degrees, 5 in total. We are an equal divide between Segovia and Madrid, allowing us to balance the workload and increase maximum efficiency of our student government with a president in Segovia, a vice president in Madrid, to really access the key administrative people that we will need to be in regular contact with to solve challenges faced by the students. Further, Julia and I both have prior student government experience, so we don't have to spend weeks, which we have experienced ourselves, to get to know which people to talk to at what times, organize office hours, come to terms with the schedules of administration. We have a year's experience in bringing forward these solutions to these challenges, and we will bring that experience further, or forward, better said. Further, we have established leaders in specific clubs, like Teresa over here, head of the legal club. We've got Julia over here, who's a co-founder of the Stork even. I mean, we've got an array of skill sets, allowing us to really touch on and support the IE community through the many facets and many challenges that we will face, and you guys will bring to us in our term. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very
Just to
much.
reiterate, I'm not the co-founder of the Stork. I
you
was a
helped,
founding editor, just to
Founding
put that out.
editor, founding editor.
Okay, thank you, and sorry for skipping your turn. Now we will proceed into the third part, roles and duties. Again, the question is, describe in your own words, what are the duties of the student government? And now, Teresa, you can answer.
Well, we think that the government's main duty is to bridge the gap between faculty and the student body and always representing the best interests of the students. We have defined 6 main duties that we should have to deal with. The first one is promoting unity and cooperation among students, faculty, staff, and in general all of the IE family. Secondly, we want to promote university spirit and unity between campuses, as we have already explained. And this will be done through the sponsoring and organizing different social events, and also increasing the willingness of the students to participate in those events in order to represent the university. We will further provide a democratic and representative forum through which students can express their concerns and express issues affecting the student body. We will do this through our accessible Facebook page that is already open, through different meetings with committee representatives and also with class representatives. We also think it is important to communicate to faculty and administration the concerns of the student body, which is why we will be representing the student body in these matters, and we will report the results through regular student emails and videos, as has already been done in the current student government. We will make every meeting minutes accessible to the students. We think it is also important to consult frequently with campus life, and here Miguel Larrañaga and Antonio Castro will also play an essential role. And we have the advantage that Dorian and Julia were already in the student government, and they know how to address these people, when, how, through which means, and also they know where the limitations are. And finally, we think it is extremely important to be transparent with the students about all of our achievements, also about our potential shortcomings or limitations that we may have. And we will communicate all of this through our, as I said, through regular meetings with class representatives, videos, Facebook page, and we will always be available for students to express their concerns or come with any ideas.
Okay, thank you very much. Now, Mehak, could you please answer on behalf of Team 2?
Yes, so primarily we believe, like Team 1 has mentioned, the student government role is to represent the student body as a whole, to listen to their needs, to take action to address their issues, and to give students a voice on a platform that they usually wouldn't have as a student body. We also believe that Team 2 would like to incorporate a 3-way communication street between the student government, the student body, and the administration. This would allow for cooperation, communication, and effective policies implemented in the university as a whole. We also believe that leading doesn't necessarily mean from standing in front of someone. We want to stand behind you and push you forward as a student body. We want to push the student body and develop leaders in the IE community in itself, and we want to create a platform where the limelight is actually shared between the student body and the student government. We want to have your input and your feedback also, and not just portray our needs. And the student government's first priority should be serving the people, and we believe that we are motivated individuals who are approachable and not exclusive group of people, which is very essential for student government, so that student body can easily approach us and give us their inputs, and we can bring them forward to the administration.
Okay, thank you very much. And now the second question is, what are the ethical bases on which the government should conduct its activity? Explain whether there are any boundaries limiting their operations. So now on behalf of Team 1, Julia.
I believe the student government, we're requested to get involved in almost all areas of student interaction. The fact that we're university students should have access and to be transparent to almost everything that's going on in terms of administration and anything that affects the lives of students. We think we have to be very, very aware that we have to be solidary and have high levels of professionalism in all areas that we act in. However, we are aware that there are boundaries to this in the fact that we each have our own personal conflicts of interest. We have our favorite clubs, our favorite teachers, our own degrees that we obviously want to focus more on. However, we are a team of very, very varied people. We're human, and we know we're going to make mistakes, but we're very, very happy to learn from them and to keep going. Also, the fact that we're a team from various different degrees, we will allow for it to be like equal. The fact that the energies that we're placing in everything makes sense and is grounded into the areas that need more action. Also, we want to very, very hammer down on the fact that we want to represent the best interests of the student body, even if we don't agree with it ourselves. There are things that, as a student government, we might not agree in the same situation. However, we know that there's demand for a specific thing to be changed in our university, we want to fight for that for you, because if that's what you want, that's what we'll do. And also, we want to make sure that everyone feels represented, and it's definitely not the student government leading and everyone else following. We want to create a real sense of community as well.
Okay, thank you very much. And now, Nicolas, you can answer on behalf of your team.
Could you read the question once again?
Yeah, sure. The question is, what are the ethical bases on which the government should conduct its activity? Explain whether there are any boundaries limiting their operations.
Well, yes, I would say that the biggest strength of IU University is basically its international community, and once again wanted to reinstate that the biggest limit for the university is basically the students' will, and that's why the student government gets elected, so everybody in theory can have some word and some contact with the administration. So I think that the biggest boundaries would be basically set by students, connecting with us, but most of the tasks that are taken out or are done in name of the students. So the only logical thing to do is have students give or tell you what you should say, because we mainly work as messengers between the community. So I think that as well we have the advantage of knowing different parts of the community from Madrid and from Segovia, which will allow us once again to set different boundaries and to expand once again into doing different events or different activities, being able or trying to approach every corner of the university.
Okay, thank you very much. Now part 3 is over, and we will now begin the part in which we will reveal the questions to the teams. This is the part of cross-examination, and now our helping moderator will distribute the questions to the teams, and I am going to proceed to read them. You have 3 minutes to plan amongst yourself your answer. Then you have a 2-minute response, and you can choose whoever wants to answer the questions. The first question is, name 2 strengths and 1 weaknesses of your opponents as a team. Name 2 weaknesses and 1 strength of your own. Please do not address people, address teams. And the second question is, what is more important for an educational institution, consistency or innovation? Now you have 3 minutes to plan your response. Okay, time is up. So since Team 2 was the last to answer the last questions, we will begin with Team 1. You guys have 2 minutes to respond to this question, but don't worry, because after all the answers, we will have a 5-minute section of open debate in which you can reply to other points made by the team before and finish your intervention. So who is going to speak on behalf of your team?
We're all going to speak.
Okay, so you can begin now.
Okay, I'll start addressing the part of their team, and then Dorian will continue with our team. So regarding their weaknesses, we think that the main weakness we find for them is that their lack of experience. We in our team were all highly involved in extracurricular activities as well as academic activities and in the IE community in general. However, in their case, we find that some of them are first years and it's sometimes a little bit hard to keep up with, to know who to contact from the administration in order to get things solved, or to know how the university functions and where to go in order to solve problems. So that may be a problem, their lack of experience and involvement. However, we also acknowledge that they have many strengths. For example, their high diversity. They have people from a lot of different countries. Actually, many of them have 2 nationalities. Also, they have different degrees, different years of study, which can be very beneficial in order to represent more students. And on top of that, they're very focused on first years as well. They have first year students, and they also may be able to address first students.
And in terms of our team, our weaknesses, I'll start with those. Many people could adopt the viewpoint that because of Julia and I's past involvement, there could be a potential conflict of interest. We recognize this. But we also would like to say that our roles in terms of our previous tenure as a student government were also categorized in the junior level. So we were a lot of the times focused on administrative issues, things that may have not impacted the student body in a desired way. Our strength, however, is that we first I'll address our second weakness. Many of us have strong personalities, making our team less effective potentially. However, we do have a lot of experience, involvement, and concrete plans to address our policies.
Okay, thank you very much, Dorian. Now, Team 2, you can answer. You have 2 minutes.
Okay, so first we wanted to start off with our impression of Team 1 and basically their strengths, which in a way we consider that having so much previous experience, not only in the student government, but in other clubs, is indeed very beneficial to be able to pass through more things with the administration or to have better contacts inside the administration. And we believe it's also very positive that you have managed to divide your team between Madrid and Segovia 50-50, which basically is almost what represents our university, which is almost divided in the number of students with Madrid and Segovia. But we thought as a weakness that by being engaged and committed to so many activities, you actually have some time to spend in the student government, because if all of you are in 2 or 3 different associations, how can the students be clear that where you're going to commit and you're going to effectively put your time into the student government and not in any other clubs that may motivate you more personally, because either it was created by one of the members, because one of the members takes us as a personal task. Then for our team, basically, we would start as well with our weaknesses. So we would consider that we are, and most of us are very young. Many of the people in our team are still in first year. But we don't only see this as a weak point, because we also see that there's a lot of motivation coming in from young students. And another weak point is that not all of our members speak Spanish, which could raise a small problem in some issues related with some of the administration or outside parties. But in theory, this is changing as everybody in the team is learning Spanish. And we think our biggest strength is that we are approachable and non-exclusive. And the fact that we are all diverse and we have members in different teams for different communities helps us have a bigger reach between the student community, or inside the student community.
Okay, thank you very much, Nicolas. So now we will give you a space of 5 minutes so that you can rebut each other's points in regards to these questions. And then after this, we will move on with the cases that are also a surprise and will be revealed shortly. So now we can begin perhaps with Team 1 if they have any counterpoints to what was said by Team 2.
We just wanted to state that regardless of the fact that we're involved in many other teams and clubs and co-founded things, the only reason we do that is because we're very, very passionate about the IE community. We want to engage because we believe that the only way the IE's community is going to grow is that if everyone's engaged and passionate about other activities. However, we think that the pinnacle, like the top, the most important involvement you can get in your community is a student government. And I can speak for all of us when I say that that's the one thing we're most passionate about. Even though we have our other side projects that we believe in, we think that the student government is the only way we can show all of this passion in one outlet, and that spreads throughout all of our other clubs, that we can foster those through the student government. So it's not just dividing your attention, it's even focusing it a lot more.
And just bouncing upon what Julia said, I think there's a definite divide between having many things on your plate and not executing on those things. But I mean, we can take Nicholas, for example, in terms of his academic focus of maintaining a 9.4 GPA. I think we can all attest to the difficulty of reaching that level. Aside from that, he's recognized that, no, that is not enough for me. I'm going to create a startup. I'm going to create a startup focused on bettering the academic performance before even considering student government of my fellow students, trying to push actively through employing his creative skills together with his co-founder Mark to try and foster more of an academic community within IE. And I think we can all attest, and Nicholas is just one example of this, how yes, we do balance many things. Yes, we have many things on our plate, but we have the power and the time management skills, which are crucial, to make those skills and make those the things we
Okay, Dorian, sorry, I have to cut you because we have to split the time. So team 2, you can now rebut any points made by team 1.
Thank you. We would start by rebutting the first point, which is a majority of us are first years. That may be seen as a weakness, but we see it as a strength, as first year students offer us fresh outlooks, new perspectives, and new innovative ideas that maybe third or fourth years might not be able to do. Also, they have much more time than maybe third, fourth years have on their plates because we have other things to take care of. And also, because they're new, they're much more motivated to achieve greater heights. We see that as a strength of our group and not a weakness. That's the first weakness we want to rebut.
You were saying that one of the advantages was that you are engaged in many other activities and you are going to be engaged, but there was it was not a lot of students that voted, but there was an article that spoke about the vision of students about the student government. And you two that were in the student government last year, one of the main problems was that people first don't know what the student government is and didn't know what they were doing. And one of the recurring issues was that most people didn't know either the student government existed or that they were carrying out activities. So it's well that you're saying that you're planning on engaging the community, but the message left from last year was that there was not such a big engagement with the community because most of the community still doesn't know what the government is. So that's one of the advantages of having also younger people that can push the message through to incoming people, no? Or when the elections are going to take place, or connecting in that sense.
Okay, thank you very much. There's more time left in case you want to rebut.
We just wanted to say that this year things are changing really rapidly. We're given more platforms. With the beginning of the Stork, for example, things are growing really fast. And last year, I can say, this year we already have a lot more opportunities than we did last year. And last year, of course, we made mistakes, but I can guarantee you, Dorian and I, as the junior members of the team, definitely learned from them. And we're running for a second chance to obviously to show you that we've learned and that we have a fresh new team of people that we feel we can lead to greatness and to all these new platforms that are growing in the IE community right now that we can definitely take advantage of.
Okay, any further points on this team?
Well, that I would just reply to that's why we decided to create the team, because we saw that there were some flaws with the student government and we wanted to remediate this. So as well, the young team in theory is just to help push this.
As a final point, if I may.
Yes, you may.
I just want to clear the smoke on our previous tenure as a student government, because it's been in the news, if you want to call that, that we have been brought into question, quite rightly so. I mean, I've been a keen supporter of transparency, and I do see it as hugely beneficial that we are put under the microscope. But in terms of communicating what we achieved and what we did achieve, and that's what a lot of people don't understand, effectively through the poll, that we did achieve many things. We were the first student government, and I don't want to spend too much time on this, but we were the first student government that created a Freshers Week. And we had a number of events that were rolled out on a continual basis, informed through the Facebook page and our communication streams. Absolutely,
yeah.
Sure.
Now we will move into the last part of the debate, which are two cases that the moderators have drafted. Our helping moderator will distribute the cases. I will read both cases, and you will have...
Lupita, the second.
Oh, questions.
We have time.
No, we don't.
Sorry.
Okay. Sorry. Yeah. And I will read the two cases, and then You both will have 8 minutes to prepare, and then 3 minutes answer each for both cases. So now I will begin with case 1, so our audience is informed of what is the situation here. In the first case, Quentin Delacroix is a second-year LBBIR student that is among the 3 best of his degree. It is the midterm season, and the first international mobility call is only a month away. It happens that the 3 best students of LBBIR, including Quentin, wish to go to Sciences Po on exchange, and the difference in their GPA is very minimal. A day before the midterm exam, contract law, Quentin is the victim of a tragic car accident while driving to the gym, and is immediately hospitalized on account of a presumably broken leg. The doctors say he must stay in bed under intensive care for at least a week, rendering it impossible for him to take the exam. He informs IE of his situation, and the LBBIR office grants him the chance of taking the exam as soon as he's able to leave the hospital. Upon hearing about this, his 2 main competitors, Jacob and Laura, complain to the student government. They claim that although immobilized, Quentin is perfectly able to read and study, and giving him extra days of review supposes an unfair advantage, as it may compromise their opportunity of obtaining the spots for Sciences Po. They demand that, on grounds of equality, Quentin should either 1. Do the exam within the next 3 days, regardless of whether he is in the hospital bed or not. 2. Be graded out of 9, his GPA, given the advantage he had over the rest. 3. Solve a different, harder version of the exam that is proportional in difficulty to the extra time he had to study. Which of their suggestions would you accept, if any, as student government? And consider, is Laura and Jacob's complaint sustained? How would you solve the conflict, taking into account the interest of both parties? Now, case 2. The business law common final consisted of 2 parts. The first part contained 20 multiple choice questions and represented 60% of the final grade's weight. The second part featured a surprise case for the students to solve by applying the concepts and knowledge from the class, and has the remaining weight of the grade 40%. For the BBAC class, the printed exams are given out with the answers to the multiple choice questions in bold, due to an alleged mistake by the teacher. Because of the lack of time between exams, it is impossible for the planning department to schedule a retake without reducing the number of study hours of the students for BBAC for the rest of the exams. This would suppose a disadvantage to this class in terms of GPA, who have the reputation of being very competitive. On the other hand, grading the tamper final will grant BBAC students a head start of 6 full points out of 10. This is expected to trigger a lot of unrest within the rest of BBA classes. In the end, BBA office decides to place the whole grading weight of the exam on the second part, the open case question, and the following day, the acting student government receives a complaint signed by 13 out of the 16 members of the BBAC class. They claim that restricting the grading criteria to only one of the exam parts damages the performance of the students that had mostly studied for the questions of the first part. They ask the student government to advocate for them in reaching a better solution. So the question is, how would you, acting as student government, address this situation and consider which parties, if any, should be involved in the negotiation process, and which of the following should have more weight, a resolution from a departmental office or the collective complaint from the part of the student body? So now you have 7 minutes to prepare.
Should we do this one first?
Okay, wait.
Okay, now we will begin with the answer from team 2. You will have 2 minutes to answer both cases, so please try to be very concise because we are running out of time. So you may begin.
Most importantly with these 2 cases is that these are both impacting students' future. So they're highly, highly important to be taken seriously. Furthermore, the problem with case 1 is the case where there is a student who is in the hospital. There is a sense of unfairness, and that is of course something that needs to be considered very, very closely. What we want to do is establish community and unity, and most importantly, the fairness. So what we want to do with this case is approach all the students individually, also approach the professors, and maintain a general consensus other than the 3 options that the students who feel like they were treated unfairly have given us. There should be a general consensus where everyone has the ability to voice their opinion.
1 minute.
And okay, for case 2, basically, that is also, complex, has a complex answer at least, because only one part of an exam is chosen to be graded. What will we do? First, well, we already have in university, for example, the figure of the student delegates, which are in theory the bridges with the classes in order to facilitate the mechanism, which are not mentioned in the case. So, what would in this case that you have a collective complaint, we think that university, because it's very recent, hasn't paid so much attention to the collective points or to the complaints given out by the community members. And it's been very hard to try to pass different measures, or try to sometimes handle some things with the administration. So we think that in this case, what should be done is take attention to the collective complaint and then try to solve with the teachers and the students, as in the first case, what is being asked, but not just take the interest of a few into consideration, or not allow the whole degree. In this case, the numbers would win.
Okay, thank you very much. Now, Team 1, you have 2 minutes to respond to both cases.
To answer the first case in terms of the person who got into a car accident, we believe that it's not really up to the discretion of the student government or the administration to decide whether he should be taking the exam or not. It's the discretion of the doctor. If the doctor renders him unable to take an examination at the university, therefore we have to take the word from the doctor and the medical expert. However, after that word has been stated, if he is unable to take the exam at the university within the next 3 days, therefore I believe that he should, then that's when the administration will make the decision. So if he is unable, then he will take the exam later, or take a different exam. And if he is able, then he will come to university and take the exam within the next 3 days, or in his hospital bed if a member of the faculty can mobilize themselves into the hospital room in order to watch while he takes the exam.
And in terms of case 2, similarly to team 2, we recognize that, of course, we'd need a more wider consensus of knowing exactly which, what has come to pass, understanding a wider picture from the students concerned, and we get their opinions through focus groups and full disclosures. Beyond that, we recognize that it's a difficult situation we're in. We can't reschedule the class. If we can, we would reschedule for all to have a redo of their multiple choice exam in order to keep the weights clear. If that's not the case, we advocate for a take-home essay, a take-home essay including all the content that the multiple choice covered in an essay format. And to avoid cheating of this essay, we'd advocate for students to put it through Turnitin and other softwares to eliminate the possibility of cheating. In terms of who would we involve in the negotiation process, similarly to Team 2, we recognize that class delegates are the voice of the classes. We'd organize meetings together with administrative representation and department heads. But at the end of the day, although the department office and the student body are both a part of this decision, it is the final decision of the administration.
Okay, thank you very much, both of you, for your very complete answers, very interesting answers. Now we will move to the last part of the debate, which will be very short. We will now have questions that have been sent through our social media. Once again, we should say that the Stork is not responsible for any of the content that has been sent through our chat. So we will proceed to read the first question that says, how will the student government ensure that students feel engaged? Being a third-year student, I have never felt the presence of having a student government on campus. Both of you have 1 minute to respond, and perhaps Team 2 can
Can you
answer.
repeat the question once more, sorry?
Yeah, I can repeat the question once more. Moderators, can you please show? Yeah. Can you please show the question again? How will the student government ensure that students feel engaged? Being a third-year student, I have never felt the presence of having a student government on campus.
And who starts?
You can start. 1 minute, yeah.
Well, we have students from third year, second year, and first year on our team from different countries, which we already pointed out that was one of the biggest strengths in order to reach different parts of the community. And we have tried to increase the presence in social media, or the presence in places where people can actually see the information that is taking place. Especially, well, if we do get elected, we planned on asking students what ways would they like or would they enjoy getting the information, or the possibility of putting boxes, because there are some people that still prefer paper than the internet, where they could leave complaints. So because this is one thing that hasn't worked and different strategies have never worked or have not worked very effectively. We wanted this year to leave it more open than ever to students to help us say, what do you want of the student government and where do you want to find them?
Okay, thank you very much. Team 1, you can answer in 1 minute.
We think we've already made a change starting, I don't know if you've seen our campaign, and we have put a lot of effort into creating quality content and quality things that people want to interact with and want to see, and to portray a sense of professionalism in the things that we upload onto the internet. And I think that taking better use of our Facebook account and making all of our minutes accessible online and just promoting. I mean, but one thing that we want to make very clear is that we can open the door, we can give you all sorts of opportunities, but if the student body isn't engaged, it's very, very, very difficult for us to engage them ourselves.
Further onto Julia's point, I think we can round it back into our main points as a student government. Mainly, we've got an IE database where we have a collection of faculty emails, positions, in order to facilitate event creation. And of course, our third point is supporting a cause every academic term, which all students can stand behind and hopefully unify joint interests and aspirations to create this fostering of a community.
Thank you very much, Dorian. Now we will proceed to the second question. Team 1 will begin answering, and you will have 1 minute. And the question says, how will the future student government overcome its lack of visibility? Posting on Instagram is not enough. You will have to prove that you can actually generate some sort of additional value for the students. Can you do this, and how?
Yeah, this year we've created another step, which is the committees. We think that creating an extra level of student engagement might, and giving people proper positions and voices to be heard and positions to speak is going to make a difference. I mean, it's small, but it's gonna grow. And we think these committees give people a platform to not only be student delegates, which meet once a semester, but to constantly meet and be constantly liaising with us, with our help, to achieve anything that they have in their minds, to make things that they dream that it could be actually concrete.
But further, just to clarify, we as a student government, we're just 8 students. We're driven students, but we also need your insights. We need your questions and how you want us to transmit the information to you. We can do videos, weekly video updates. We could continue forward on our student government Facebook page to have a list of proposals that we've already submitted, meetings, mass emails. Many of these things have been done before, but you need to realize that we want to transmit the message. Please allow us to do this correctly. Come to us with recommendations, please.
Okay, thank you, Dorian. And now on behalf of Team 2.
Could we once again see the question?
Yeah, please, moderators, can you put the question once more? How will the future student government overcome the lack of visibility? Posting on Instagram is not enough. You will have to prove that you can actually generate some sort of additional value for the students. Can you do that, and how?
Sorry, go ahead, please.
Okay, sorry. The only thing that for us was very important, it's not so much on the quality of the content and on spending a lot of time on the content, because the student government is not here to create nice content for the web pages or for Instagram, but it's here to do things for students. So to solve that.
So we not only want to have polls and surveys, but we also want personal interaction on campus, because part of our campaigning is that we are a part of you. We want to represent you well. The student body is our main priority, and to make sure that their voice is heard, we want to have personal interactions in the campus itself so that we can get to know their needs, their wants, and we can project them to the administration. And also, we're a very approachable and non-exclusive group of people. We are easily, we can be your friends, we can put your needs ahead to the administration that way also.
Okay, sorry, the time is up. And thank you very much, everyone, for coming for this debate. This is the last question. We would like to thank you for your time and for your very valuable answers. We would like to show our respect for Group 2 due to that their president, Somia, couldn't make it to the debate, but we still want to congratulate both teams for having an excellent performance in the debate. And also the Stork is very proud to see that for the first time there are 2 female candidates running for president. This is a great advancement, and thank you very much. Thank you.
We done?
Thank you.
Thank you from Team 1. Thank you for checking in.
Thank you.